Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. What a race. What a race, what a race. What a week of sports. I'm here repping the Aston shirt. Along with the Columbia logo, you know. But yeah, what can I say? What a race. What a win for Ricardo after a very, very tough season. Lando Norris getting P2, finishing up with Valtteri Bottas with a very, very convincing, strong drive. Very looking forward to what he does next season in the Alfa Romeo. That was an incredible, probably one of his best drives, as well as Lando Norris. All three of the people on the podium had fantastic drives. Charles Leclerc, P4, also a very good drive. Very convincing. Looked again stronger than his teammate Carlos Sainz, which is another plus. Paris P5, probably should have gotten that P3. He got a 5-second penalty when he overtook Charles Leclerc and went over the curb, crossed track limits. The same thing he did to Lance Stroll in the sprint quali. Did it again. This time he did get punished. Red Bull didn't react, didn't let Charles Leclerc overtake him again or take back the position. And he got punished to 5 seconds for it, and he couldn't recover because he couldn't overtake the McLarens. He had Valtteri Bottas behind him. Just defended. So I think Charles Leclerc was probably like 3 seconds back max. Yeah, he probably was. Valtteri Bottas was right on him, and he did manage to beat Carlos Sainz to the line. Carlos Sainz got P7. Another iffy weekend. Good all around, I would say, but probably if I was to give it a grade, probably like a C, because he lost to his teammate. Although he was there, he had incidents with Giovinazzi as well as crashing in FP3. If I'm correct, just mistakes all around that he's doing a lot recently. It's just that in a race he just manages to fight back from it. Because in the race again, P7, P6, sorry, isn't bad. If your team is P4, he realistically would have gotten P5. No, I'm lying. P6 was probably where he was at. Valtteri Bottas was quicker. Perez was quicker. He missed out on P5 very, very closely up too. So yeah, it's not bad. P7, Lance Stroll, my guy. Good race from him. P7 did everything he had to do. It's a bit of a controversial what happened in the first lap of the race, staying in front of Sebastian Vettel. However, he did close it very tight on him, causing Vettel to go wide and lost like a couple positions. And from there, Vettel's race just got worse. Another incident with Esteban Ocon wasn't his fault as well. However, I don't think it caused damage, but it definitely caused him to go wide, as well as there was contact. So that could have done some stuff to the tires. Just couldn't get back. Didn't really ever look like he was going to get a point. He fell back to George Russell. Couldn't overtake George Russell as well as Nicholas Latifi. A poor race by Vettel, but with all the performance he's had this year, it's probably just a little blimp. He's had good performances, so just one bad one so far. Since probably like the first two, Bahrain and Imola, were terrible for him. Since then, he's really showing his class. So it was just another iffy. Actually, Zandvoort again wasn't bad, although he did look faster than Lance. So it was an alright race from Vettel. Then the Williams and the Alpine. Nicholas Latifi had a really strong race. He was in the points on merit at the front at the very start of the race. He unfortunately did lose out on the safety car with the pit stops and just fell back and couldn't overtake because he started well off. He started P13, and after like 5 laps, he overtook Esteban Ocon into 9th, I think it was. He had a strong race. He just fell back, unfortunately. But the Alpine and the Williams had a very similar pace this week. Very similar. They're probably like the same on race pace. Probably just a little bit of more of class, or a bit lucky, I would say, with the safety car Alpine got, because Williams would have outscored them. Latifi would have been well into the points. Would have probably gotten P9, P8 if he would have pitted under the safety car. So poor race from Alpine, although they were strong in Zandvoort. So we're noticing what tracks they're good at. Alpine, they showed really good pace on a Hungary, Zandvoort. So you're already knowing they're like not the long straight tracks, very good. Because also in Baku, actually in Azerbaijan, they did look good, but it wasn't even that final sector. It was in the middle sector where it was very tight, narrow. So they're gonna look strong. I'd probably, if that was to predict what races we have left. I don't want to say Abu Dhabi. They're probably not gonna be strong there. We have Turkey. I don't think they're gonna be strong in Turkey. I can't. Brazil, if we have Brazil, not sure. Mexico, I don't think either. If I was to predict, I think the Aston will be a faster car than them, although they're still probably gonna have better, like, good races there. I'm just saying that they show they're like the fourth best car, maybe third best car, when it comes to those tracks. When it comes to the Zandvoorts, when it comes to the Hungaries, when it comes to the Monacos. Even though Monaco, they were pretty high up there too. At least that's what I've seen or analyzed. I gotta see what tracks we have left. But like those narrow tracks, like what comes to mind, Saudi Arabia probably. Miami next year. Let's go with that race. Will probably be if they have the same car, which they're not, because their regulation change is gonna be mad. They would be strong on that. But yeah, that's what they're looking like. Alfa Romeo, I feel so bad for Giovinazzi. It was his fault, although I think there was leeway. I mean, he just ran out wide. I think Carlos Sainz just backed out of it. Like, he got very lucky not getting damaged. Why did he I mean, I understand you're just going to go for any little gap you have, but there was no need. There was no need to just break a bit and give Giovinazzi the space. He was well in front. Although it was his fault that he cut the corner. He locked up, I'm pretty sure. It was his fault, but you had nothing to gain. He did gain the position, but he was like, if that happened 99 more times, he would have got front wing damage. I don't know how Carlos Sainz did not get any front wing damage on that. Giovinazzi deserved to get that P6. He was in P6, overtook Carlos Sainz, was fighting again for P5. And again, it's with the Ferraris that Giovinazzi's having trouble with. Because again, in Zandvoort, it was the same thing. He was fighting Carlos Sainz for P6. And Carlos Sainz just shut the door on him. He got on the grass. And then from there, all the Alpines both overtook him. And it went down to P10. So again, no love lost for the Ferraris. One thing I noticed too was, I don't know why, when the crash happened, they showed a Charles Leclerc race radio. Charles Leclerc was in front. I don't know why he mentioned Giovinazzi's name. I don't, like, how would he even see that? He was well in front of Giovinazzi when that happened. It was Carlos Sainz that hit him. So that's a weird one. I gotta see really what happened or why Charles Leclerc mentioned Giovinazzi. Like, we didn't even get a Carlos Sainz radio. Like, we got it like a bit later, but as soon as the crash happened, it was Charles Leclerc, the radio that we got. And he was in front, so that's why all of us assumed that it was a crash with Charles Leclerc. But if you're a Charles Leclerc fan, lucky with that. But I think he deserves a seat. I think the best way we can say how good of a driver Giovinazzi is to see him with a different teammate. He's had the same teammate since he's been in F1. I don't think the same with Nicolas Latifi, and he got that chance. He got George Russell as a teammate. When you have only one teammate that we can base it off, I want to see more against another driver, because that one teammate doesn't give me enough information. We can't tell how good of a driver Kimi Räikkönen is right now. He's one of the best drivers of all time, but he's also 40-something years old. He's probably not the best driver at the moment. However, only 5 years ago, he was in a Ferrari fighting for podiums. So that's what I'm saying. That's why it's a bit iffy. Let's see how he does with Valtteri Bottas. If he gets absolutely smashed, it's time to go. If he loses, not even smashed, but if he loses by convincingly, again, he probably has to go. The only way I can see him retaining his seat next year is if he rather is on pace to pace with Bottas, or if he beats him. But if he loses by, I would say, 4 to 5 races, I think it's unfortunately, I like Gio. It would be time to go. But this year, I think he deserves. He's shown sparks. When has Raikkonen qualified P7 this year? When has he shown, like, the pace that car has had? You could say it's unlucky because maybe the tracks that they were performing this year were better suited to the car, and Raikkonen unfortunately missed out because of COVID. But like I said, I wanted to see him against other teammate Kubica. He smashed him, absolutely dominated him. But again, it's Kubica. We've seen him against Russell. He got destroyed by Russell. Obviously, that rally crash has a lot to do with it, but he did everything he had to do up until the races. where again, I kind of give him leeway. They weren't really his fault, I would say. It was unlucky. I would say it was more unlucky than it was Giovinazzi's fault. Giovinazzi's fault. Haas's, I'm not gonna mention the Haas. There's no point in mentioning the Haas. There's same old problems, same old issues, fighting at the back of the grid, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned all except for the big moment of the race: Verstappen and Hamilton crash. Again, coming together. My opinion, racing incident. Verstappen probably should have backed out. Hamilton probably should have given him more space. And it's funny because it was such fate that, you know how much things had to go into place for that to happen. For Verstappen to have an 11-second pit stop. For Hamilton to have also a 4-second pit stop. If they were both either just had regular pit stops, or one had a fast one had a slow one, or they both had normals, that wouldn't have happened. The amount of fate that had to happen for them both to meet up at the same time, at the same corner, at turn 1, absolute crazy. Crazy stuff. And that's what I think it's a racing incident. I think Red Bull probably got the better of it, and the fact that Hamilton probably was the faster of the two and had the faster car, to them to extend on the drivers' championship, probably good for Verstappen. However, that grid penalty he did get, which I do not agree with at all. We'll see how he does in Russia. I assume that Mercedes are also going to be faster in Russia. They've always dominated at that track, and it could get scary because even with that grid penalty, I would expect the two Mercedes to be well on top. So I think the best result that Max Verstappen would get would be a podium. He surprised me before. He surprised me this season. He could very well do that. But I think the best he could do is a P3. And Bottas could win, but he's probably just going to give the position back to Hamilton unless Hamilton does a major mistake like he did in the sprint quali this time, where he had a terrible start and a bunch of cars overtake him. So that's what I think Verstappen would have to hope is for him to get at least a podium, and for Bottas to win and Hamilton to be in P2 or to slide back, which I think is very unlikely. But yeah, great race. I would give the race probably like a 7 out of 10. It was a great race to compound with a great season, but it was like just the moment. It was the moment and the Ricciardo win that made it feel good. But when it went to overall action, where you saw overtakes galore, overtakes every lap by lap, it got stale very quickly. If it wasn't for those moments, it wouldn't. Let's say it was Hamilton in front, and the people that crashed, or there wasn't that crash, the race would be boring. It was just that we all wanted Ricciardo to win, and as well for the two championship drivers colliding. That's what made the race. But if those two moments didn't happen, the race would just be kind of boring. So that's why I would give it a 7 out of 10. Still, even the races just don't disappoint this season. Even in a boring race like today, stuff happened that made the race great. So, again, great. I would probably give my driver of the day to Ricciardo. Runners up, I'll probably give it to Bottas. The L of the day, I would probably have to give it to Pierre Gasly. I would probably say he couldn't get started. He was so well into P6. And he just messed it up in that turn. He broke too late. Probably him. Yuki Tsunoda probably out for a shout too. Terrible in qualifying again. Didn't make any moves in the. I actually forgot to mention AlphaTauri. Damn, that's what I was forgetting. But they didn't even race, so I guess I don't have to mention them at all. But yeah, that's my race review. Race reaction as well to Monza. We'll see how. I always forget. I know there's a massive gap. I think I only did like the first 2 races of the season and just stopped. So we'll see. We'll see if I do one for Russia. But yeah, that's my race reaction for Monza. Good luck, everybody. Have a good day.